What's up, everybody? It's Ericka, Sallee of True Synergy, and welcome back to my channel. True Synergy is a personal coaching and a professional development company where I help women and organizations to figure out what stands in the way of their success. And so I love to be able to share conversations about the barriers and the strategies in order to help you to move to your best version. So if these are conversations that you want to continue hearing, then yes, I do invite you to subscribe to this channel. Go ahead and share it out and then turn the notifications on so that you get the word on when new videos are uploaded. So today's topic is yet the next idea and the 10 best ideas to jumpstart you to your brand new year. Now, these are small snippets that I'm sharing to help you to really jump into this new phase, whether it's the new year that you're embracing or the new stage of your life that you happen to be in. You can really apply these 10 ideas to any space that you may be in at this appointed time. Now, because we are in a brand new year, this is the perfect time to have the conversation as to how to create new. What are some of the things that I can do in order to not just create the best version of myself in this moment, but really you can use these ideas to take you on through your entire transitional phase of life at each step that brings. And so today's topic is to create a calendar. Now, if you haven't seen the previous tips that I've shared over the last few days, and I do encourage you to check those out. All the links to those conversations are right here in the description. So if you haven't seen them and you want to take a look at those, then I do encourage you to do that, because you can put these together and catalog these into your own personal library so that you can refer back to these and say, okay, well, if I need a little pick-me-up or I need to get a quick tip, then I have them at my disposal. So today is about creating a calendar. Now, I know how sometimes we can go out to do things and it's sort of like, okay, I'm just going to get it done. And we kind of have a haphazard way of going about getting things accomplished. And while that may work in some cases, because yes, there is a certain level of spontaneity that we can include in our day-to-day activities. However, sometimes if we do not be more focused and intentional about what it is that we're trying to create, then we just don't create. We just don't get things accomplished, and then we look back and we say, well, goodness, what did I get done? So I'm going to encourage you to consider creating a calendar. Now, I know that many of us have smartphones, we have tablets, all of the things that have the functions on them so that we can keep ourselves straight, okay? So let me just tell you, there's a couple of things that I do, and this works for me. So these are suggestions that I'm going to throw out there, and you get to decide what works best for you. So some people say, well, you know what? I'm just going to use the calendar on my phone, or I'm going to use the notes section of my phone, which I do quite regularly. This just happens to be on a list of links to meditation sites that I use to help me keep focus and keep my own health and well-being intact. So some people choose to use that, and that's fine. Some people also do the old-fashioned way of managing their time, and that is with a calendar. Let me show you. So this is my brand new one for the year, and you can see I've got some things plugged in here. It also helps me to manage, my schedule from a weekly basis. And so that might work. I'm going to tell you what I actually do is two of those things. Actually do three, but in order to manage my schedule, I actually put stuff here in my phone, and I also use my calendar. Now, some people might say, well, that's double work, and why would you make that, make more work for yourself? For me, it's what I need in order to keep myself straight. I really do feel like writing things down is what helps me, because in my brain, I don't know about you guys, but I can literally see, if I know that I've written something down, I'm like, okay, I know I have that written down. And you might even say, I know I have it written somewhere. But that just lets your brain know that you have actually seen yourself doing the act of writing. That's how it works for me. So when I say create a calendar, When you think about getting to the best version of you or making this year, this moment in time, a better year for you, sometimes that means putting things in order. And oftentimes, if we have stuff all over the place, including in our head, it really lends to more confusion than you actually achieving or accomplishing something that is important to you. And so what I love about the calendar, and this one in particular, this is the vendor is the Happy Planner. Now I'm not being paid to mention or to market or to endorse, but I really do like this calendar because there's certain things in here that really help me to kind of put my thoughts together. At the beginning of every month, there is a section where you can put, let me see, I'm trying to do the best job that I can navigating this, but there's a section here where you can put like your focus for the week. At the top, there is a section for a scripture reading plan and keywords, because this is actually a scripture-based planner where you can actually put some thoughts that connect you spiritually. So I love that. And you can put keywords as well. And then here's the part that I really, really like. Now, this is a little bit different from, I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit different from the calendar that I purchased from them for last year. I typically try to look at each day and create a list of things that I need to do. I noticed that in last year's calendar, the section for the list was for you to write your list was pretty big. This year, I noticed that there are just smaller spaces. I don't know if you can see that, but these little bullets here. And I like that because what it helps me to do is to remember that in order to have a productive day, you don't necessarily have to have a list of 10 to 15 things that you're trying to get accomplished. In fact, I would suggest that you narrow your list down to something that's manageable so that you reduce the risk of being overwhelmed with your day. And so this section and the way it's broken down, it really helps me to compartmentalize my thoughts and my efforts into specific things that will help me to feel like, okay, I've gotten something accomplished and I'm intentional about what that is. So when you create your calendar, or you might say, okay, I've never created a calendar, I'm not even sure where to start. Maybe just start with a simple list. So when you focus on your day, you can either do it at the beginning of the day or the night before. If you say, okay, this is what I want to focus on the next day, then you can write it the night before. But if you are not used to keeping a calendar and literally like each day you're kind of mapping out, or if you're a business owner and you have clients or you have specific tasks that you need to do, you're kind of mapping those out on those specific days. But let's say, for instance, you're like, I'm not a calendar person, I don't go day by day. Well, you might just say, let me just create a list. So when I say create a calendar, you can transfer that to create a list and make it a manageable list. So you might say, like, for instance, one of the things that's consistent on my list every single day, at least Monday through Friday, let me be very clear, is workout. So that's at the top of the list. And so you can say, all right, if I want to focus on this day and making this a successful day for me where I've been intentional, then you can just write, 3 things that you want to get accomplished. I'm going to say 1 to 3 things, because for some people, 3 things might be overwhelming. So you might just say, here's the thing that I want to get done today. Or here's the 1 to 3 things that command my attention for today. And you can write those things down so that you can at least focus on where do you want to spend your time. And I'm suggesting that you have a space to collect that or to jot that information down. So maybe it's not a big calendar like this, because for some people this is, number 1, overwhelming for them, and number 2, it's antiquated. Okay, for me, I like to be able to write, and I like the freedom of having the ability to write other things down. For instance, there's a section in this particular planner that asks where you can write down observations and application. So the observations are what are the things that I have noticed throughout the course of the day that I'm paying particular attention to, whether that's in my thoughts or whether that's, a conversation perhaps that I've had with someone and there's an aha moment. So I get to write those things down. And then the application part is, how am I applying the thing? So let me just give you one specific example from yesterday. So yesterday was a really, really, really busy day for me. And so one of the things that I wrote down in terms of the observation is that what I observed about myself on yesterday was that with everything going on, all of the, I'm going to say productiveness, not busy, because busy and productive are two different things. So it was a very productive day. And what I observed about myself is that in between all the things that were happening, I needed to stop and breathe. And so I wrote that down, need to break and breathe. I'm going to do a conversation on that. Need to break and breathe, and just kind of talked about how one thing rolled into the other. So that was the observation that I noticed about myself. And so the application part, which is in this calendar, was that I wrote in bed by 11 p.m., deep breaths, and then I ate dinner and played solitaire. And why is that significant? Because it gave me the opportunity to kind of break up some of that with a minute to just do something that was mindless. Okay, so that's probably something I'll get into more at another time, but I just wanted to outline how this particular calendar is broken up. Why am I sharing these things? Because when you create a calendar or when you create a list, you begin to start being very focused on how you're spending your time. Okay. And I know a lot of times we say, oh, I don't have time. And so, but what we need to understand is that we have plenty of time to do the things that we need to do. And sometimes the calendar or our list helps us to be able to see where we're devoting the time and being able to be very clear as to where we want to spend it. So when you talk about, how do I create this level of success for myself? How do I achieve my goals? How do I embrace this brand new year with a technique or something that's going to help me to get to where I may want to be? It is creating a list, creating a calendar, because in that calendar or on that list, you can also say, okay, these are my goals. These are the things that I want to get accomplished on this day. And if looking at it from a broader perspective, like, okay, this is what I want to get accomplished in a week, this is what I want to get accomplished in a month, break it down and say, here's what I want to get done today, this day. And a calendar will help you to do that. Now, you might say, and I've got tons of them here. This is a new one that I haven't even started, but I'm going to use this as an example. So this was given to me by a friend. And so if you say, okay, the calendar doesn't work for me, a big old calendar like what you have, and okay, I can put it in my phone, but sometimes I might not remember to look at it. Well, you might say, okay, well, let me just use a journal. So there's lots of different ones that you can choose. Some journals look like calendars but don't have as much information. They just have specific dates and you can write notes. I'm saying use whatever is best for you to get in the habit of being intentional with where you're spending your time. Okay, that's really what the message is behind this conversation. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm hoping that what you will do is you will take the suggestions and figure out the way that works best for you. As I said, I use both. When I put it here, I'm also putting it here, because sometimes I might be out and about and I may not have my big calendar, but I can pick up my phone and say, okay, they're pretty much in sync. I try to do a good job to make sure that everything is in both places so that I know if I'm out and I don't have this, I at least have this. And if I'm at home and I'm sitting where I can really look at this, then I've got what I need. So you decide what works for you, and that will help you to continue to move toward your best version and make this year a better year than perhaps what it was last year. So I want to be able to extend to you that if you say, okay, I hear you, and I'm looking for some more direction. I have some questions. Maybe you're trying to figure out, well, how do I take this conversation to the next level for me? And if that is you, then please feel free to reach out to me at truesynergy.org. If you go to the very top of my website, you'll see that there is an option for a contact. And all you have to do is send me a message and say, hey, can we spend 30 to 45 minutes? Just want to talk to you about what's going on in my space. Perhaps we can partner and figure out how you can get me to the next. Then I look forward to hearing from you. So again, that's truesynergy.org. You can go ahead and reach out to me, and then we can figure out, what next and what your transformation journey looks like and how I can support you in that. So on that note, I look forward to seeing you again real soon. I'll be sharing the next best idea in the 10 best ideas to jumpstart your brand new year. So you don't want to miss the rest of the conversation. Until I do, take care and be well.